We're going to look at how Modigliani uses colour and shading to make the face look 3D. Build up colours gradually from light to dark. Put thin layers of light pastel in areas that are lighter and thin layers of dark pastel where you can see shadow. Be careful, oil pastels pick up other colours and sometimes draw dark lines unexpectedly. Clean your oil pastel on a piece of scrap paper. You can do that just by colouring it a few times to take off the dirt. Continue to build up gradually. You can see here I'm just putting very light layers of colours on initially and then blending with lighter colours over the top. Occasionally you need to shake your paper to get off the little bits of pastel that come away whilst you're colouring. So here you can see I'm adding shading to the side of the face, as you see in Modigliani's picture. When the face is at the edges, the face appears a little bit darker. And also the shadows will show the structure of the face. Usually you'll see some shadows going from your nose to your mouth, under your cheekbones, maybe around the top of your chin, around your eye sockets, and within your ears and on your neck. Study your face carefully in the mirror to see where you can see areas of shadow. Try to avoid outlining the nose. Instead, make a difference between the colour of the nose and the shades on the face. Look at where your nose is lighter and darker and try to apply the tones that you can see. So you might not necessarily use realistic colours. You can see here Modigliani has exaggerated the flesh colours, and I'm also using flesh colours that are a little bit abstracted. But I am matching the tones that I can see in real life. So here I'm trying to define the nose and the eye sockets as darker areas. So here I'm gradually building up the main body, the main colour of the face, which is the yellow. And on the outside, building up with thin layers of orange that are then blended into yellow. So keep looking at your face for where the shadows fall and how dark they are. When you're shading a picture, you need to consider how dark one section is compared to the whole rest of the picture. This way you can make sure the darkest bits are in the darkest places and that you maintain light areas where they're needed. So be aware what tone it is compared to the rest of the picture. So here you can see I'm using the yellow to fill a large area, and by pressing hard over the top of the orange it blends together. Here I'm making my neck stand out against the rest of the face. My neck is in shadow compared to the rest of my face as it's under my chin. So I'm making it slightly darker than the rest of the face, but blending over the top with yellow to make it tie in a bit more. So now I've just looked for a pastel that creates a contrast so I can make my mouth stand out. I've used the dark blue to make an edge and then blended with pink and a flesh tone. So here you'll see layers of blending happening. So once you've defined one area, you'll also need to define elsewhere in the picture so that one area doesn't stand out and look strange. Again, just put light layers of colour on and then use other colours to blend them together to create a more interesting outcome. Try to layer gradually and fill as much as you can. The more layers you put on, the more solid it will appear. Here, I've not used the pastels very efficiently because I've already shaded a very dark blue area without finishing the yellow. This means it will be difficult for me to get the yellow up to the blue without dragging it into it. The pastels tend to blend together, so always do the lightest areas first. It's easy to put dark colours on top of light ones, but not so easy to put light ones on top of dark ones. So here you can see a bit of the blue has gone into the yellow because I'm finding it hard to shade up to those areas. So my advice is keep Start by shading all the light parts first and then build the darker parts on top. Modigliani creates a contrast with the eyes. Even if your eyes aren't blue, you can use colours that don't appear there so that you can make a contrast and make things stand out. Try not to use heavy outlines everywhere. Look at where lines are darker and where lines might be lighter. So I'm using other colours on top of the blue to blend the colours together so they're not so intense. It's always nice to add a background colour to make your image quite vivid and to make yourself stand out against the background. I'm using the side of the pastel here to fill a large area quickly.